Oh, hello and welcome back, and thank you so much for clicking on my video, my fellow chess enthusiast. What we're going to be doing today is playing against a 1913 T. Teddy from France with the Caro-Kann, and I'm basically just going to explain the opening and my thought process along the way, and so hopefully you'll be able to learn something today, and I'll be able to absolutely destroy our opponent in the endgame, because I am a firm believer that the opening is not all that important as long as you don't get a losing position. The middle game is not as important as the end game. All of the phases of the game are important. C4 is probably my least favorite played move in this position. And so we're undecided what we want to do with this bishop. I want to apply pressure to this pawn immediately. So you generally want to develop these knights before the bishops, because now this bishop at least has a supporter of moving forward. If he brings the knight, we will just pin it with the bishop. Sorry, I'm not the greatest at arrows. I just figured out how to do the different colors, by the way. Try the blue. You see it? Blue, red, gold. Gold moves, but I have to like reach for it and click it. So I probably won't really be doing that. Um, so everything that I had spoke about previously about bringing my bishop to this square, he don't want the smoke. He don't want the smoke. He wants to develop his knight without my bishop pinning it, which is a fairly reasonable idea. Now I'm stuck with a terrible decision of what do I do with this bishop? There's an option of this, but I think the far more pragmatic approach is to just lock my bishop in jail, and we're going to play on this diagonal later. Same kind of issue with my bishop. What if we just copy him and we get a completely symmetrical structure where I will develop my bishop, he will do something with his bishop, we will both castle, we'll probably trade off equally, and my bishop will be locked on the inside of the pawn chain, is really the only imbalance that we have. So we're going to develop my last minor piece. That's not even true. I still have my light square bishop. I'm going to develop a minor piece because I still don't really know what I want to do with this bishop. And so he can jump forward into the middle of the board, but in such a position, I mean, he didn't play it, so we don't really need to go into too much detail about what would have happened there. He cannot jump forward because I'll simply grab this pawn. Probably developing his knight is the next best approach, and then I will develop my bishop, and then he will castle, and then I will castle. And so I'm not going to be castling queenside. Most likely. He can still do a waiting move. He can still do a waiting move and decide, like, maybe he does want to castle this way. His king would actually be quite safe over there. The reason I don't want to go that way is because I'm going to castle my king 2 squares and literally be on this open file that is immediately ready for this pawn push. So yes, he's kind of deciding if he wants to go with that. We're going to wholeheartedly just castle this way, and if he castles this way, I'm quick to throw a pawn in his face, and he will probably throw some pawns in my face. Same side castling is probably the best approach for our opponent. It doesn't matter, he was going to lose one way or another, but now I got to really figure out what I'm doing. I think I'm going to just push this pawn, bring the knight, potentially just bring my bishop forward, and this pawn push is somewhat of a problem. Stepping back is also kind of a silly idea, so that I can put my knight here and just allow his knight into the middle. So if he's putting his rook on this file, I'm putting my rook on that file. That is the only analysis that I have for you on that position. Stepping back with the queen. Now, I don't think that there's too many great ways for me to even really step forward. But we need to figure out what to do with my stupidest piece. And my bishop is by far the stupidest piece. This guy is, doing stuff. This guy is preventing the knight from coming in. And his bishop is beautiful along this diagonal, looking at my weak square over here. And so I want my bishop to trade off for that bishop. So we could jump back, allow him to jump in, jump up. If he trades, I trade. I'm not going to think about it anymore. We're going to just do it. Probably bringing my rook over here would have made a lot of sense as well. And even once I get my bishop here, he can probably just push forward with this pawn. And if I take, he takes. Then I jump into the middle, then he jumps into the middle, and we just got a fabulous game of chess on our hands. So unfortunately, this kind of walks into me getting attacked. If I push here and he doesn't take, then that just We're going like this. Just take something. Just make something happen. Okay, so he wants to do this. I can't take with the knight. I cannot take with the knight because the pawn will fork me. So I'm going to just step back, and I should probably start playing just a tad bit faster. He can take, and then I take, and then he jumps in, and I take, and then he gets a rook into the position, and he still has the pawn break. So at this point, I'm going to push forward. I'm going to push forward. He could probably just take my knight and bring his knight, and then, oh dear lord. I can also take now. And then I can put my bishop here. Or I can go like this. I got a couple options. I can go like this. And what do I want to do? I can jump forward and kind of threaten this. I don't know what to do. Here, 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 or this. What I'm worried about is him not taking this bishop. That's what I'm worried about. Not taking this bishop, because this bishop sucks. And so I kind of just want to get that bishop traded off, is really what I want to do. I'm still trying to figure out what to do with my stupidest piece, and I'm just hoping he takes it, because he would be getting my light square bishop for a knight, but in the position as it stands, my knight, this bishop really sucks. If I can get to the middle of the board and he captures, and then I capture with something else, then my bishop all of a sudden opens up. So it looks like he wants to just go for checkmate. I can kind of just get in the way, but first I'm going to just throw my knight here. I'm attacking this, which would attack the queen. So like I'm actually doing stuff right now. He could just take, but like I said, I take back, and then all of a sudden this bishop has a life. And if the queen comes in, I can kind of block. It's a really sketchy move to play. But I think we're going to go like this. That also prevented his whole idea. And all of a sudden, my stupid piece is being attacked. But I don't have to trade it off. No, I don't. And this is just not going to happen. And my knight can kind of come here. Two options, essentially, is what I'm seeing. I can play this. He brings his queen. Then I push. Attacking the queen. The queen will probably go somewhere. But this rook is undefended. So here, here, here. I'm attacking the queen. Where will the queen go? The queen will go somewhere, but I can't actually take because this guy is hanging. So I can jump to the middle of the board. Not sure that was the right idea. But we're trying to put my bishop on this diagonal, long story short. And play a little bit faster because I don't want to lose on time. So it's 5 minute plus 5 second increment. So we do get 5 second increment. And I am fairly quick at chess. This is weak. But I like this. I sure hope I'm not missing something. He could have gone for something like this. And this isn't going to work because he can just take with check. He could also, I don't know. He can go for this. No, he can't, because then he walks directly into a fork that he can get out of with check. So this move might make a lot of sense, where I jump forward, attacking the queen. I think that I'm okay with just making this move. I'm a little bit scared. Make no mistake about it. I am absolutely a little bit worried right now. But I think we might have the opportunity to just simplify the entire position and go into an endgame, which I'm quite alright with. With 2 minutes again on the clock, how good are your rook and pawn endgames, friend? Because if he takes, I take. Okay. I think we're just going to take that. Here, here. Okay, boom, boom, boom. You go for the pawn push. Here, here, here. He goes for the pawn push. I can't take because I'm hanging. I can push forward, and then your pawn becomes kind of trapped a little bit. Let's just go for it. I'm not convinced. I'm not sure that was the right move, but I like the idea of going into a rook and pawn endgame, or even like he keeps the queens on the board. I like the idea of just going into an endgame where we are getting increasingly less and less time. This is pretty much going to just be hit on the head. He can also go for this. I can jump forward. I think we're going to go for this. He can come in, but I'm ready for this. He can go here. We're playing this. He steps in. I'm stepping over like this. If he comes here, I mean, there's not a lot of great moves to be played. But like I said, we're whittling away at the clock. We are whittling away. If he plays this, I think we want to slide over first. And we're going to be taking with the rook because we don't want that same mechanic. And oh god, getting into a queen endgame is looking what it's looking like, and it might just get a little hectic. I'm going to be completely honest with you. 1 minute and 24 seconds on the clock. I got 2 minutes. All we got to do, the way to win this, the way that I always win chess, is just don't blunder first in the endgame, bro. That was a fantastic move. If I take, he just kind of bars me out. So boom, boom. And then realistically, what is my idea? I think let's just take. He comes in, I just step forward. If he takes with the pawn, my rook is kind of trapped in jail, that's for sure. So taking with the pawn, probably just a great idea for him. And he's got this. But I could just push forward, right? So let's go for a pawn break over here. What did that accomplish? We're going for this. I don't know what that accomplished. What was that move? Take, take. I'm trying to get in, is what I'm trying to do. He's definitely got some scary ideas of pushing as well. He doesn't need to take. If he takes, he just allows me to get in with tempo on this. Trade, 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 trade. Keeps everything sturdy. But I think we're going to be alright. We're going for it. We can also just push and then try to get in. Push, and then all of a sudden, it's not a passed pawn, but I don't want to take and just let him come with tempo on this. So we're going to push. Then we're going to the open file, which I can beat you to. Back rank ideas? Okay. Here, here. That's the idea. You can bring your king. But he doesn't have to take. I go here. If he does take, I get in. He can go for this. He can slide back. If he takes, I'm pretty sure he loses. But we're kind of going for this because we're hoping for that. Here, 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 here. I push forward. If he goes for this, I think I'm going to have too much tempo. We step up. All of a sudden, he's getting too close. So the options are trade into this king and pawn endgame, which I'm not confident about. Or I keep the rooks on the board. We keep the rooks. I like the idea of keeping the rooks. I don't know how else to explain it, but I feel like that's what I needed to do. Okay, so you touch me. I go. Let's just shuffle around a little bit. Five seconds is a huge amount of increment, by the way. His rook is tied down to guarding this pawn. Launching this probably makes a fair amount of sense. Here, and I'm trying to wiggle my way in. If I go forward, he just steps up. I step in, he pushes, I take, his rook gets in. I can also give him a check. If he goes here, I step up. That is the whole idea here. He's going for this. Okay. Here, and I'm trying to get in. Ah! Scared. I'm scared. He can come forward. But I hit him with a check, and he's not coming forward. Okay. I'm trying to bring my king. I feel like I'm getting more active than him. Where are you trying to go with that, realistically? We're coming back for this idea. He's got this. But I throw in this first. You can't take comfortably. You can't take here. You have to stay guarding this. I take, back, take, I come in. I think that's my way forward. We take. You have to take, and I step in. I step in. Okay. We're stepping in. We want to go this way. Yes. Here, 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 here. I think we're chilling. You can come in. There might have been a different way to do this. He's going to get this. Get here. I can also get out of the way like this. Get the queen, bro. We check him in front of this pawn. There's probably a lot of different ways to win this. No need to freak out. No need to freak out. Step away from my pawns. Deep, heavy sigh. We have secured the victory. He can resign now. Boy, oh boy, was that an instructive game of chess. I'm not 100% sure in that endgame. There were a lot of tricky things, but the king activity and the rook activity, like we had completely equal everything. The only thing that was not equal was the activity. And like I said, bro, you win in the endgame. You literally win in the endgame. That's all you have to do. And so just survive the opening, survive the middle game, and then get better at your endgames. And so let me think for a second. I think if he didn't try this move right here, this was it. He overextended. I think if he would have just casually like pushed forward or pushed, like pushed this one to lock this down, I think it's still a draw. It's hard to say, but I have this little idea. But I think it's still a draw in this position, and he plays this. No longer is it a draw because I don't need to rush into this. I can make an immediate threat. And now it's a real problem because you can't take, or this whole idea works. What if he would have just like stepped back actually? Like I come in No, he can't. He has to do something, or else I'm winning this pawn, and then you really lose. So it was this pawn push. I'm almost guaranteed. Let's check it with the computer, see how accurate that was, and I will see you over there. And here we are in the analysis. And what did I say at the beginning and the end and during the middle of that game was rush into an end game and win the game there. And so there was one opportunity that I completely missed in the middle game. I'm sure some of you guys saw it, and I'm sorry for that. I did not see a simple move, but it is what it is. Neither of us saw it, so we go into an end game. And so we're going, this is the Caro-Kann exchange variation where I'm supposed to bring this knight first. You know what? Memorizing all this stuff is difficult to do and not fun, and so I don't do it. You know what I mean? And so sometimes what results from that is a slightly losing position with either the white or the black pieces, but does it matter? No, it never matters. Unless you're a grandmaster playing in the serious tournament or something, it does not matter because what is a +1 advantage? As long as you didn't actually lose the pawn, then you're chilling. If it's a positional -1, it literally means nothing. And so I'm supposed to just be brave and bust open in the center. But the reason I don't want to do that is because it strays away from the structures that I'm much more comfortable with. And so really, if he develops and I pin and then I push and then he develops, and then I'm way more comfortable with all those structures. And so we develop the knight. I'm still supposed to throw this pawn in the center or Fanketto. But the reason I don't do that is because I'm uncomfortable. Not uncomfortable, but I'm just not well versed in either of these lines. I do this or this, then I'm in a completely new realm of chess. So instead, we play something that I am somewhat familiar with. We get to this position, and I have played this pawn structure many, many times, and I have had this same problem of my bishop being trapped behind the light squared pawns many times. And so that's why I'm going for this. It might not be the best course of action, but at least I know what I'm doing a little bit better. So we castle. He jumps the knight into the middle at some point. We're both kind of just making improving moves. And so if we take a look at the computer analysis, we are 13 moves into this game, completely equal. That is how almost every game of chess is, unless you make a serious one-move blunder. So, talking about serious one-move blunders, this move didn't make any sense at all. I'm basically putting my knight in arguably the worst square it could possibly be in the entire position. On my side of the board, okay? I could definitely have it here, and that's worse. But in my position, this knight is just about as dumb as it gets. And so the whole reason my knight wasn't doing this was to prevent this knight from jumping in. So it is what it is. I go right back to where I was. And now he has improved his position greatly because I did a little shuffle back and forth. I made a move, and then I realized, man, that knight actually had a pretty good job where he was, and I put him right back. And so now I'm supposed to just accept it and try and do something different. But we step back with the queen. The simple reason that I'm stepping away with the queen is so that I can capture and that this isn't a fork touching my queen and my knight, okay? So I launch a pawn. I have a -1 position, but who cares? My knight goes over here. This is 2 times my knight has touched the side of the board in one game. But now he finally gets to a pretty nice square where I'm attacking this pawn. I'm attacking the knight in the middle. It's actually pretty nice. And he trades me off. And holy guacamole. The whole reason we did this is now my bishop has access to the long diagonal. So his bishop is amazing. My bishop sucked. But one other part of chess is in the opening and parts of the middle game, the bishops suck. The more things that trade off the board, the better they get. So this bishop has been chilling the entire game. But just now on move, what are we at? I don't even know how to read this thing. We're on move 14. No, 20. We're on move 20. Finally, we get a little window of hope. So if I get my bishop here, finally we can see through all the nonsense. So he jumps forward, and I changed my mind. I was talking about come and kill my bishop, but now that there is no pawn on this square and I can see through, I want to keep my guy. I want to put him here, and just that's my whole idea. We then don't trade off and bring another piece to the party. Right now, your queen sucks on this square, so why would I trade a knight to put your queen on a better square? Now your queen is just on a better square, and we don't have knights. So you don't have to trade just because it's there. You got to think about, is that going to bring his pieces closer to my king? Yes, it is. Directly in front of my king, looking right at him. Very scary. So I put my knight in the middle of the board. Much better. We then immediately set up some ideas here. And so this is my blunder of the game. My opponent's and my blunder. How long did I spend? I spent 5 seconds, so I really spent 10 seconds. But what I was worried about was his knight coming in and my knight is pinned. Oh, this is what I was worried about. He jumps back, attacking my knight, and then all of a sudden I just have a lot of things attacking. And if I ever move my knight, he has two pieces on my bishop. So this is the best move. I can straight up just fork these guys. Just fork them. What are you gonna do? I mean, if you move, I take the knight. If you take here, I just take here. I mean, you can trade off some rooks as well, but you're down a piece, and you are going to continue to be down a piece. So simple pawn fork. Simple pawn fork. Didn't see it. Forgive me, please. And I did this instead. So this move in and of itself is not bad because it defends the bishop, but there was a way better move. Okay, way better move. And so we trade off. We trade off. We trade off. Or we tried to trade off. And yet again, one more thing you can just appreciate is if I take, you bring your rook to the party. We don't want that. We don't want your rook coming to our party. So what we're going to do is slide over. So if you take me, my rook is coming to the party. And so that is generally how you need to think about chess. It's like a party, and you want your pieces to show up at the enemy's party, and you don't want your party to get crashed. And so one way you can do that is not just giving them direct lines of doing that. I don't think that made any sense at all. So we're going for this pawn push. Basically, my queen doesn't have a whole lot of play. Like, this diagonal is cool and all, but I'm not actually ever going to get into the position. So I'm going for this little pawn break idea on the side of the board. We trade, and now, you know what I mean? I've got a very identifiable weakness in the position. He does as well. He could pretty much just go like this and this. No, he couldn't. It would be defended. So I like my position better than his. The best move is to launch a pawn. Hard to play. Hard to play. Or slide back and kind of like prevent stuff. Whatever. He could kind of plug the hole. Like if I do this, he can slide over. And then even if I like slide into the position, he's pretty quick to just like bring his king and he doesn't got to worry about anything. So either way, we do that. We get on the open file, still completely equal. Other than that fork that I missed, bro, it's still equal. We are on move 38. Move 38, still equal. Boom, into the position, still equal. Sliding around. But now I've got a cool little outpost. So he's slightly losing here. Still doesn't really mean a whole lot, but my rook is beautifully placed. I'm like in your position, bro. And you can't take or I just get a queen. And yeah, it came to be fruitful, whatever you want to call it. I start bringing my king. Now, we do a couple shuffling moves because I realized I was a little bit low on time. So we shuffled like this. Then we play the pawn push rather than in this position. Where was it? Rather than just stepping over right now, I realized I can do a little bit of shimmying and get a little bit of time. And so that's why we did all this. Now we push the pawn. We have a different position. And so if all of everything up here repeats again, it's a different position because now this capture has taken place. And so I'm making diagonals for my king. That is the whole idea. Or this diagonal, we're coming in here. The whole idea is just trying to get more and more active. And what's crazy is this pawn push is the best move right now because take, and he's active. And he's close to getting here. So this is the best move right now. Now it is the worst move. 5 moves later, 3 moves later, whatever it is, because the position changed just enough. In this position, it's not good because you're worried about the trade and my king getting in. So before that wasn't really an option because my rook was over here, so this pawn push would just be your king getting in. My rook was kind of like off sides, like not really doing a whole lot over here. But for the reasons that I explained in the video, I probably explained it pretty quickly because I had 30 seconds. We step in, and he could just keep it on the board. But at that point, I win this pawn. So he can't move his rook off of this file, or I can just take, and then I grab this pawn, or just grab this pawn straight up, and if you take, I take, and you take, and then I have a pass pawn. Long story short, if I win this pawn is 2 squares away from promoting. So if you take, I simply take back, and I'm 1 square away from promoting, and you cannot catch me. And so this is a cheeky idea. Just because this is on the board, I don't have to take. If I take, then it's probably completely equal. No, he's still losing because this is still the same idea, essentially. This is still what I'm going for. But yeah, a little tactic here. We threaten the rook. The rook's got to do something, or you got to trade me, or you got to step back. And when you step back, I can take. Then you step away, and I take here. You have to take or push, and whatever you do, I have made your king step back just enough that I can access these squares. Just like this. And then all you got to do here is calculate who gets the queen first, and it's not too hard to do. You know, I'm going to just get the queen. You're not there yet. We go ahead and force you in front of the pawn. We put my queen on the same file, so no matter what happens, I'm sacrificing for this. Yes, he's potentially could win this pawn at some point if I screw up or whatever, but we don't care because we're grabbing this pawn. One other thing. You don't have to rush in these situations. I'm going to kill the queen when it arrives. I don't need to kill the pawn before it becomes a queen. And so in this position, he steps away. The best move is to grab here because this is kind of like, I don't know, I guess it's interchangeable, but grabbing this first because I have time. Then the queen arrives, then I take it. And so knowing this in your endgames, doing this, in this situation, it doesn't matter that much, but I promise you, in other situations, wait until the queen arrives, then take. Wait until the last moment. You do not need to rush to win the pawn. You need to rush to win the queen. And I have lost games because endgames can be crazy. And sometimes it makes the difference between winning and losing. So I have learned the hard way. Just wait till it's a queen. The only time you don't want to wait is if there's a knight or something that's going to get in the way defended by the king. Okay? So like say this is the position, but he has a knight here, and he throws the knight here, and all of a sudden he blocks you being able to take. Okay, then rush. But in this situation, no rush. And then here we go. Boom. My pawns are promoting. I'm going to make some queens. Did I read the graph? One blunder. That was the fork. So essentially I played like an almost perfect game other than not finding that best move. That's this spike right here. I'm missing that fork. And one blunder, that was that. Two inaccuracies. More or less a not perfect game of chess, but a very good and instructive end game, if anything. The end game, like I said, just practice these end games, bro. Just play the puzzles on Lichess, practice the puzzles, and then just go into your games and try not to hang pieces, get into the end game, and spend your time there, okay? Thank you so much for watching my video. I hope that was enough chess advice for one day. I love you guys. I'll see you in the next one. Get out of here. Bye.